Hello everyone, my name is Virendranath. I'm a panelist at Starof. So in today's session, we will be talking about the behavioral design patterns. So in our last sessions, we had a discussion on the other two patterns, structural design patterns, and the other patterns that we have discussed was creational design pattern. So in today's session, I would like to go on some behavioral design patterns. So basically, whenever I talk about behavioral design patterns, so this is third and the last segment of our section of micro panelist sessions by me. So this will be the last of the sessions. Okay, so after this, I will be going on for another topic. Okay, so in software engineering, as you have seen here, so behavioral design patterns, they are generally identified, they are generally used for identifying common communication patterns. So common communication patterns between the objects. So basically, why I'm trying to talk about here the behavioral design patterns is so they are with the communication or the object communication, I should say. So in short, so object communication happens or you can say there will be encapsulating behavior in an object. So basically whenever we are trying to talk about the object oriented programming, so if you remember this design patterns these design patterns are upon the object oriented programming patterns. So whenever I'm talking about design patterns, so they are upon the object oriented patterns, so or object oriented programming patterns. So basically whenever I'm talking about this behavior pattern, they are concerned with the assignment of the responsibilities between the objects. So what I am trying to say here, so they are the they are the delegative methods of the objects basically. Okay, so they will expose the encapsulating behavior in the object. Okay, so encapsulating the behavior of the objects. Encapsulating means so they are making the combination of the object behaviors, and they will be passing on the request to the objects. Okay, so that is the basic idea. So when we compare this with the already finished patterns like creational and structural patterns, so basically they will be mostly dealing with the instantiation of the objects. Okay, so instantiation of the objects after the classes are created and all. But here we will be mostly concerned with how the objects will be interconnected. So it is all about connecting the objects. Okay, it is all this creational pattern is, I mean, this behavioral pattern is all about connecting the objects. So that is the main intention behind this particular creation, I mean, behavioral patterns. So as I've told you, in the creational and the structural patterns, they dealt with how we can instantiate and how we can use those objects. Okay, how we can use those objects. As we all know, objects are nothing but the blueprints of the objects. What was the central idea of those processes or those patterns? The central idea of those patterns were creating the instances. But here, as I've told you, we will be working on the way the objects are interconnected, and objects are going to be connected among them. Okay, so in simple words, if I have to say, in creational, it is about instantiation. In structural, it was about the instantiation literally. And in the behavioral, we will be concentrating on the relationship among the objects. Okay, so in short, what I'm trying to say here, in short, I'm trying to say that, in the behavioral design patterns, we are going to work with the object relationship. Okay, we are going to work with the object relationship. So that is what is the main point under the behavioral design patterns. Okay, so behavioral design patterns. So in short, we are going to talk about the relationship among the objects. So that is what is the main agenda of the behavioral pattern. Okay, So when I'm talking about, okay, so when I'm talking about, okay, so here, okay, so when I'm talking about this behavioral pattern, okay, just a second. So when I'm talking about this behavioral pattern, so what I'm talking about, I'm talking about one of the patterns which is called as the state design pattern. So which one of the factors called as the state design pattern. So what is the state design pattern? So state design pattern, as you can see, is a so is a yes, so right. So basically, okay, so let me talk about the state design pattern. So what is the state design pattern here? So state design pattern or the behavioral state design pattern. So it is according to the gang of four. So what is this gang of four? So gang of four is nothing but the ones who have proposed this idea of the design pattern. Okay, so in the gang of four, what happens is a state allows an object. So what is it? What happens in this? So a state allows an object to alter its behavior when its internal state changes. So what do I mean by this? When I'm saying when you create an object, okay, so when you create an object, so the state allows an object to alter its behavior. Okay, so when there is a internal change, so there is always a communication, right? So there is always a communication, there is always a relationship that is working, that is getting worked between the objects. So basically, whenever there are internal changes in the state, so there will be a alteration in the object. So there will be an alteration in the object. So that is what is the main intention behind your so that is the main intention behind our process of state design pattern. So whenever I'm talking about the state design pattern, so basically what happens is the object will appear to change its class. What I'm talking about, the object will be appear the object will be appearing to change its class. Okay, so what I'm trying to say at the end of the day, I'm trying to say that so under the state design pattern, so what we are trying to do, so under the state design pattern, we are trying to have a change on the object. Okay, change on the state of the object, and its behavior also changes when its internal state changes. Okay, so whenever I'm saying this concept, so each state object will have a particular logic to act. Okay, will have a particular logic to accept or reject this change transition. Means when you are creating an object, so when you are creating an object will or object can have a state logic. Whenever you create the object, it will have a state logic, so it can accept or it can reject a state transition request. So whenever I'm talking about it, so the object has the full rights to change the logic or reject a change. So whenever we are talking about this behavioral pattern, so we need to understand when we need to use this. Okay, when we need to use this. So when we need to use this, basically, we have to use this. So we have to use this when we are dealing with an object. We are dealing with an object which can be in different states during its life cycle. Okay, so basically when you it is closely related to the threading life cycle. So threading life cycle, so whenever I'm talking about threading life cycle, so it will be in a new state, it will be in a running state. Okay, so it will be in a runnable state, or it will be in a blocked state, and it will be in a dead state. So in the same way, whenever you are working with an application, so that object will be in different states. That object will be in different states, and each state can be made with a transition. Okay, so each state can be made with a transition. So whatever happens, so whatever happens in the life cycle of that object, so we can see that all transition. So that is the way that we can use the state pattern. So that is where we can use this state pattern. Okay, so generally whenever I am saying, if we use the state pattern, so we allow the objects to have different state of mind. So different state of mind. So which will be helpful to work with the behaviors within different classes. So one object behaving differently in one class, one object behaving differently in another class. So different classes will have a different behavior to work with. Okay. So whenever we want to use this state design pattern, okay, or else you can say state behavioral design pattern. So we basically are concerned with the object states and the change in those states. So change in those states. Okay, so that is what the main intention behind this. So whenever we are talking about this state pattern, so these are this pattern will solve the problem where an object should change its behavior. Okay, should change its behavior when its internal state changes. Okay, so when its internal state changes, so it should externally also have that change affected. Okay, so adding new states will not affect the behavior of the existing state. So means every time you remember, we can add the states, we can make some changes to the states and all. So that change also will not get affected to the behavior of the existing state. So to give you a clear and specific idea of what is this in the real time, so let me give a simple example. So you visualize a TV box. Okay, so TV box, generally you have a set-top box kind of things, which will be operated with a remote control. Okay, so everyone of us know. So we can change the state of a TV. So what we can do, we can change the state of a TV by pressing buttons on your remote. Okay, so by pressing buttons on your remote, so we can change the state of the TV. Yes. Okay, but the state of the TV will change or not will depend on the current state of the TV. So for example, if the TV is on, we can switch it off. Okay, so mute or change the channel or change the source or increase the volume, decrease the volume. But if the TV is off, nothing will happen. Okay, so nothing will happen. If the TV is on, then only you can see the changes. Okay, so you can see the changes whatever we make. So if the TV is off, so it is not possible to do any other actions except to switch it on, Okay, so the only thing that we can do when the TV is off, is so we can switch it on. So state patterns basically are used to implement state machine implementation in a complex application. Means what are we trying to say here? So your state pattern, okay, so your state design pattern. So as I've told you, so when the objects are liable to change, so then only we can make the changes. Otherwise, so there is no implementation of this. Okay, so then as I've told you, it is something similar to the Java thread state. So Java thread state. So whenever you have the Java thread life cycle, so there will be a new state, there will be a runnable state, there will be a blocking state, so there will be a dead state. So generally what we are trying to say at the end of the day, so we are trying to say that so we are trying to say that so we as a state behavioral pattern, so what we are going to do, so we are going to have the state changes. Okay, so when the state changes so happens, so there will be state changes internally also. Okay, so now when we talk about implementation of this state design pattern, so state design pattern, so what a state design pattern will have, so state design pattern will have a state, we'll have concrete state to handle and concrete state B at the context. Okay, so basically what are the participants of the state design pattern? So define, okay, let us understand. So define separate state objects that encapsulate state specific behavior. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create separate state objects. Okay, so separate state objects. So what is a state? State is nothing but the interface defined operations which each state must handle. So we are going to create all these things now. So state. So what is state? So state is the interface defined operations which each state must handle. So where every concrete state, A, state B. So what are these? concrete state A, concrete state B are the classes which contains this specific state behavior or state specific behavior. So what is state first of all? So state is an interface. What are the concrete states? So concrete states are nothing but the classes. Concrete states are nothing but the classes. So what is the context? Context is nothing but an interface to client for the interaction. So for the interaction. So in order to interact with the implementation, so we need to have an interface. So what it maintains? It maintains references to the concrete state. So what it maintains? It maintains references to the concrete state. So these are the three participants of the state design pattern. So state design pattern. So first we will talk about an application. So we'll talk about an application, and we will come back with talking about the advantages and disadvantages. So first let us create an application. Okay, so in that application, as I've told you, so first thing that we'll have is a package state. So this is like a delivery managing application. So the delivery manage application. So let me create the classes and let me create the Java files in my Eclipse environment so that we can understand how we can deal with the things. Okay, so let me create. Okay, so let me create a package. So let me create. Okay, so let me create the files. Okay, what are the files that I want to create? So the files that I want to create would be first class that I want to create. When first interface that I want to create is a package state. So which will contain, so package state Java, which will contain an update state. So this is a delivery shipping delivery application. So first we will be creating a package state Java. Okay, so package state Java. So let me go here and create a class. So create a class. Okay, so otherwise I'll create a package first. So package, and I'll name the package as behavior. So behavior design pattern. Okay, so behavior design pattern. So let me write it here, and then right click over here and create a new class. So which will be, okay, so I should create a new interface rather. So which will be, okay, so which will be named as, so which will be named as package state. So which will be named as a package state. So let me create that for you. So let me create an interface and name that interface as, so package state. Okay. Okay. So one second. Okay. So, right. So type name. So package state. Okay. So otherwise, I can create new class and say package state. Okay. Type name must be blank. Okay. Fine. So, right. So right click here. Say new. I was not aware of the blank that I was having. So let me say package state, say finish. So what we do is, so we just take this whole thing over here. Okay, so we take this whole thing over here and paste it over here. So package state, so delivery context. So we will have that. We'll create the class, every class. Okay, so next we will be going for the acknowledge.java. So acknowledge.java is a class which will implement this package, So what we'll do is, so we will create a acknowledgement. So this is a simulation of the delivery application. So let me create a acknowledge.java. Okay. So let me create the acknowledge.java under this. Okay. So let me go first. So right click here. So let me create a class and name it as acknowledge.java. So acknowledge.java. So let me say finish, and let me copy this same code here. Okay, so to make it easy and faster, so I have the code there. So you can, so acknowledged implements. Okay, acknowledged implements abstract. Okay, so what is that? So acknowledge is implementing the package state. So all the errors and everything will be gone once I create all the classes. So this class is implementing the package state. Okay, let me uh, close everything to the left. So let me close tabs to the left. Okay, so let me have only these things into action. So let me save everything first. Okay, so that errors will be gone, don't worry. So next thing that we are going to create is shipped.java. So shipped again is implementing the package state. Again, it is implementing the package state. So package state is again the interface that we are going to get it from here. So package state. So this is the okay. So I'll explain you each and every method once. Let me put all the things into action. So package shipped. So let me remember that and create. So package shipped. Okay. So let me create the new class and name it as shipped. So name it as shipped dot java. So let me say, or let me copy the code. Okay, so again shipped is implementing the package state. So okay, shipped is implementing the package state. Okay, so what is the next class that we have? So in transition. In transition in the sense your package is in transition. So package is in transition. So in transition dot java again. So let me go for right click here, say new. So let me create a class and name it as in transition. In transition. So let me say finish and let me go for in transition, which is implementing package state. So save this at once. Okay. So next is out for delivery. Out for delivery. So you have the out for delivery class. So we will go for each and every class once we create it. Okay, so each and every class and the way that we connect with each class. Okay, so what is the class name here? So out for delivery. So out for delivery is the class name. So let me put it out for delivery. So out for delivery. So then let me create. So the delivered class. Okay, so so under the delivered class, we have again the implementation of the package state. So all of them are implementing the package state. Okay, so all of them are implementing the package state. So let me create this. So what is this class name? So class name is delivered. So delivered. So delivered is a class name. So let me copy it again. Okay, so then we have the delivered context.java. So delivered context.java, which is having which is having the which is having the getter and setter methods. So what is the class name? So class name is going to be delivery context. So delivery context, right click here, say new. So go for a class and say delivery context. So delivery context. So delivery context, say finish. So let me run this. Okay. So then so delivery context and then finally we will be going and testing it in our main class. Okay, so in our main class, so that will be the implementation class basically. So we will create a class and name it as a main class. Okay, so finish. So let me put it up. Okay, so now so slowly if you observe here, so all the classes are getting away with the okay, so getting away with the errors. Okay, so here, okay, so delivered instance basically. Okay, so here I let me save it. Okay, so all the errors are gone. So now we will go with the flow. So always we remember, so we need to go with the flow with the main. Okay, so we need to go with the flow with the main. So what I'm creating here, I'm creating a delivery context object. So what I'm creating here, delivery context object. So if you remember, so just we said just 10 minutes ago we just had a discussion on state. So the interface defines operations where each state must handle, which each state must handle. So what you see here? So what we created, package state. So everything is going to handle this, right? So in shipped, you can see that. In transition, you can see that. In output delivery, you can see that. In delivered, you can see that. In delivery context, you can see that. Of course, main you don't see that, but main is the implementer. Okay, delivery context. So what is the delivery context here? So delivery context class. So what does the delivery context class show you? So delivery context class will have, so what is the point here? So delivery context. So in main, so what we are creating. So let me take this. So let me take this over here. So delivery context. Okay, so in the delivery context, so let me take it up here for our reference. So let me take it up here. So what is that? What is the point here? So the point is, so delivery context. So what you are passing? You are passing current state, which is null, and package ID you are passing, which is test123. So package ID you are passing it as test123. Okay, fine. So once you are passing the package state as null, current state as null. So current state is nothing but a package state variable. So package state variables, you're passing null and you're passing test123. So once you say super, so where this super call will be made? The super call will be made, the super call will be made to the parent class. So super call will be made to the parent class. So who is going to be, so who is going to be called from here? So who is going to be called from here? So now you don't see any direct parent of this. So definitely it is going to be an object call. So okay, so basically what we are trying to say, current state. So current state is equal to null. So current state is equal to null. So definitely current state is going to be null. So current state is going to be null. So what this current state would be now? So the current state would be acknowledged dot instance. Acknowledged dot instance. So what is this acknowledged dot instance now? Acknowledged dot instance will make a call to the acknowledged. So acknowledged. So acknowledged instance. So what we are trying to do here? So we are trying to take a look at the acknowledge. So where is this delivery context going? So acknowledge dot instance. So where the call is coming here? The call is coming to acknowledged instance, which is static basically. So and return the instance. So what it is returning? It is going to be returning the instance. So what it is going to return? It is going to return the instance. It is going to return the instance. So this dot current state, this dot current state will be getting the instance, So literally what is happening? So this dot current state is going to get the, so this dot current state is going to get the instance returned back. Okay, instance returned back. Okay, because it is null. Because it is null. Okay. So then again, so what we look at here in main. So we say ctx dot update. So ctx dot update. So under the ctx dot update, so what we are going to see? So we are going to see, okay, so we are going to see ctx dot update somewhere. Okay, so ctx dot update, so update state here. So in the delivery context, so what you can see over here, so you can see ctx dot update. So update, so what is update here? So current state dot update state. So current state, so what is the current state dot update state? So current state dot update state. So where is the update state now? So update state, so where you can look at the update state here. You can look at the update state here. So update state, so what is the context? So package is acknowledged. Package is acknowledged. So package is acknowledged. And set current state is equal to shipped dot instance. So now what is the current state acknowledged as? Current state is acknowledged as shipped dot instance. So once you say shipped dot instance, where the control will be jumped to? So control will be jumped to shipped instance. Again, package is shipped. Package is shipped. So then again, where it will be transferring to, it will be transferring to in transition dot instance. So in transition dot instance, where it will be going for, it will be going for out for delivery instance. Okay. So then out for delivery instance will be making a call to the out for delivery, and in that out for delivery, what you have? So you have the delivered instance. So you have the delivered instance, and inside the delivery instance, so you have the final say, that is package is delivered. So just I have made a overview of all the things. So how the package is delivered. So how the package is delivered. So initially it made a call. So it made a call. So it made a call. It made a call with current state null. So there is no state right now. So there is no state right now. So then, so package ID is 123. So what exactly happened? So now it went to the acknowledged state. So once you get the acknowledgement for this from the seller, so once the seller acknowledges you, so that seller is going to make your pack into so current state update state. So what is that update state that we see? So that update state that we see is going to be, okay, update state is going to be into the update. Okay, so what is that? So after that, your statement it will be shipped, and after shipping, it will be out for in transition, of course, in transition, and then it will be out for delivery, and it will be delivered. Okay, so in order to run or in order to know all this, so you can just simply run the main code. So you can see the same thing what all we discussed. Okay, so package is acknowledged, package is shipped, package in transition, package is out for delivery, and the package is delivered. So how all these state transitions are happening? So state transitions are happening from one call to the other. So that is the main understanding of, so that is the main understanding of this particular state design pattern. So this is all about the state design pattern that we need to understand. Okay, so then it's time to understand the advantages and disadvantages of the okay, so advantages and disadvantages of this particular state design pattern. Okay, so what is the first advantage? We can add the new states. So what we can do? We can add the new states and new behaviors. Okay, so what is the point here? We can add the new states and new behaviors in the application without any impact on the other components. So what I'm trying to say at the end of the day, so what we can do, we can easily add the new states wherever possible. So wherever possible, we can add the new states and the new behaviors in the application without the impact to be made on any other components. Okay, so what it does, it is not going to increase your complexity by having switch cases, if else statements, and also generally, if I ask you to write this application, so you can easily write with some if else, some switch cases and all. But in order to reduce all that complexity of the code, so we can take the help of the design pattern, state design pattern, of course. So for making it, for making it a wholesome design patterned application. So what is the what are the disadvantages? The disadvantages of the state design pattern are, they are basically very difficult for maintenance. So you might have seen, so many classes we need to make. Okay, for a small application, so many classes we need to make, and so many arrangements we need to make for this particular application. Okay, so that sometimes maybe may not be a feasible solution for the developers. Okay, so that is where we look out for the other design patterns available. Okay, so according to the GOF again, so gang of four observer patterns. The next pattern that we are going to look at is a observer pattern. So in that observer pattern, what we are trying to understand, so we are trying to understand one to many dependency between the objects. So it is all about So these behavioral patterns are all about communication, all about making the relationship between the objects only. Okay. So now in this observer pattern, what we are saying, we are going for a one-to-many dependency between the objects. Okay, so one-to-many dependency. So generally, whenever I am talking about dependency, so dependency or kind of one-to-one, one-to-many. So there, for example, you have three objects. Okay, so you have I mean three elements. So you have three more elements. So one-to-one relationship. Okay, so what we are talking about here, we are talking about one to many. So one may be related to many objects. Okay, so in that way, we call it as one to many. So one to many. Okay, so one to many. So publish and subscribe pattern. So publish and subscribe, it is nothing but another way of expressing the one to many relationship. Okay, so there are many observers. Okay, that are observing a particular subject. Okay, so that is what the main point is. So observer, so which are subscriber objects, so that are observing particular subject, that is publisher object. Okay, so observer register themselves to a subject. Okay, so observer register themselves to a subject. Okay, so whenever there is a change made to that, whenever there is a change made to that, they will get an kind of, they'll get a kind of notification. So when there is some change happen in the internal structure, so there might be a change. So there might be a information that will take place. Okay. So in that way, you are going to look at. Okay. So observer object can register or unregister from the subject at any point of time. At any point of time. So I don't want any notifications released to me. So I can just simply quit from the or unregistered from the subject at that point of time. Okay, so that is why we call the objects to be loosely coupled. Okay, so what is the main idea of this observer pattern? The main idea is to create one-to-many relationship. Okay, one-to-many relationship where observers are called as the subscribers, and the subject whom they are connected to are known as the publishers. So they can register themselves to get the notifications, and whenever they don't want to have any notification, they can simply get away from that. So this is what it is. So subject changed, so you want to have an update. So observer A, observer B, observer C. So what is this? It is a pretty simple application wherein the flow is very simple to understand. So application creates a concrete object. Application creates the concrete subject object. Okay, all the concrete observers register themselves to be notified for any further updates in the state object. Okay, so as soon as anything changes in the subject, there will be an update that goes to all the observers. So that is the point. Okay, so whenever I'm talking about this observer pattern, so this is the way that it works generally. Okay, so whenever so literally I'm registered to a particular. So now you see, whenever you have a new item released in Amazon or Flipkart, so we will use that notify me option. So notify me option. So what does the notify me option do? So notify me option will be helping you out to know the status of a particular element, so which will be soon released. Okay, so in that way we make the registration to notify the updates. Okay, so that's what the main idea here is. Okay, so whenever I want to give you a real-time example, okay, social media is one of the best examples for this. Any social media platform such as Facebook or Twitter, when a person updates his status, okay, when a person updates his status, all his followers get the notification, right? So a follower can follow or unfollow another person at any point of time. Once unfollowed, once unfollowed, so you will not be getting any notification from that subject in the future. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, so you are going for a Facebook followership. Okay, so if you are following some person, if that person is making some change or making or uploading or anything, So that change definitely will come as a notification for you. So if you unfollow him, so then that notification will not be coming to you. Okay. So will not be coming to you. So basically what I'm trying to say is some message transfer kind of thing. So basically frameworks like JMS, okay, so Java messaging system, Hornet. Okay, so all of these works on this particular pattern only. Okay, particular pattern only. So that is what is the main intention behind going for this particular design pattern. So what will be there in this design pattern? In this design pattern, we have subjects, we have observer. Okay, so concrete subjects and concrete observers. So concrete in the sense which are not abstract. Okay, so concrete in the sense which are not abstract. So subjects in the sense which are abstract. So what are subjects here? Interfaces or abstract classes. What are concrete subjects here? To maintain the state of the object. When change in the state occurs, the notifies the attached observer. So that is the point here. Okay. So now let us go for the example as we went for the previous one. Okay. So what we are going to do? So we are going to have an application. So wherein you are creating a message publisher of type subject. Okay. So and three subscribers of the type observer. Okay. So what we are going to do here, we are going to create subject.java. So subject.java is nothing but a subject interface. Okay. So let me go here and create a package again. So in this package, we are going to talk about observer design pattern. Observer design pattern. Okay, say finish. So let me create a class by name subject, by name subject. So by name subject, and I will try and copy this interface. Okay, so I think it should be interface, sorry. So let me, okay, so otherwise, okay, so interface, no problem. So interface, no issues, anything is fine. So now we have attach, detach, and notify update as our abstract methods, as our abstract methods. Okay. Interface is nothing but collection of abstract methods, as we all know. Okay. So then we have a publisher. So we have a publisher, message publisher class, which will contain, which will contain those method implementation. Okay, so which will contain those method implementation. So let me right click over here, say new. So new class, and we call this class as message publisher class. So message publisher class. So under the message publisher class, so we will try and have, okay, so message publisher. So under the message publisher, so you have a class which is implementing subject. Okay, so we are having a collection of elements. So we're having a collection of elements of which type? Of the observer type. Okay, so we'll talk about the observer in 2 minutes. Okay, observer, we are adding the elements into the observer. Okay, so we are detaching. So we are detaching in the sense we are removing, and we are also having the notification. Okay, so notifying all the observers, so that we know. Okay, so now we are talking about the observer.java. So observer.java. Okay, so what is this? This is an observer.java interface. So let me create an interface here as well. So new interface. So we will name this interface as observer. Say finish. Say this. Okay, observer. So message, of course. And then we have message subscriber 1, message subscriber 2, and message subscriber 3 for that matter. Okay. So message subscriber 1. So let me create. So new. Okay. So new class. So we will say message subscriber. So message subscriber. So there are 3 message subscribers basically. So I'll copy all at once and take each one of the thing side. So this is message subscriber 2 and message subscriber 3. So let me create 2 more classes. So say new class. So message subscriber. So message subscriber 2. So message subscriber 2. So let's finish. So let me take this up. Let me delete this and take this up as the as the message subscriber 2. And let me create one more. So message subscriber. So message subscriber 3. So message subscriber 3. So let me create message subscriber 3. So under the message subscriber 3, we will have so we'll have this. So under the message subscriber 3, we will have this particular thing. Okay. So this is under the message subscriber 3. So now, so message subscriber 1, message subscriber 2, and message subscriber 3. And then we will have the state object. So state object is also compulsory because so here we are getting the state object. So what is state object here? State object is the message. Okay, so new state object. So state object is going to be the message. Okay, so simply copy this, paste this rather. So message. So once you have the message, so let me save all this. Okay, so once you have the message, everything is corrected automatically. And then we will call it as the main. Okay, so we'll call it as the main. Okay, so we'll call it as the main. So simply, okay, so under the main, we have the implementation or we have the instance creation. Okay, so right click here, say new class and name this as main. So name this as main. Okay, so generally main class rather. Okay, so now save everything. So now what where the execution starts? So the execution starts here. New message subscriber 1, new message subscriber 2, and new message subscriber 3. So message subscriber 1 object, so 2 object and 3 objects. So all of them are implementing observer. All of them are implementing observer. So what observer is? Observer is an interface with update method. So what update method takes? Update method takes a message. Update method takes a message. Update method takes a message. So okay. So message subscribe 1 m dot get message content. So who is m here? M is the message. So m is the message. So what is the message here? Message m dot message content. So here, so message. So what is the get message here? So getting message and setting the message. So when the call is going to the message, so what is the message that I'm getting over here? Getting the message content. So m dot message content. So m dot message content. So what is the message content here? So message content, whatever that message you are passing. So you are passing. So what is the message that you are passing here? You are passing new message, first message. Okay. So from where you are passing? So from message publisher you are passing. So message publisher. So here you can see message publisher. So under the message publisher, so notify update attach. So what is observers doing here? Observers is nothing but the array list. So observers is nothing but the array list. So which will get the okay. So where the message publisher P. So message publisher P is nothing but okay. So where is the message publisher? So here under the main, so message publisher P is equal to new message publisher. Means what literally happens here? So you can see, so message publisher being created. Message publisher created means you will be able to call this attach, detach, and notify update. Okay. So and attach. So whenever you say attach, so what generally happens here? So attach. observers dot add O. So add O. So who is O here? O is nothing but the observer. So where this attach call is coming from? So attach call is coming from the message publisher. Okay, so message publisher, and from this observer, so subject. Okay, so attach observer. So this is the way that all of them are interconnected. Okay, so literally whenever you are running this main, okay, let me save everything at once. So whenever you are running this, so what is the first message? Subscribe 1, he is giving the first message. Subscribe 2 is giving the first message. Subscribe 3, he is giving the second message. So literally what is happening every time you are saying attach of S1. So who is S1? S1 is the first subscriber. So S1 is the first subscriber, S2 is the second subscriber, and S3 is the third subscriber. So literally what we are doing, so we are connecting each of the subscribers. So whenever there is a message that is published, so each one of the publishers are taking into account those particular things. Okay, so this is the way that we are connecting the observer pattern also. So when we are talking about the observer pattern, so these are the things that we need to understand. And finally, if you take into consideration template method design pattern, so what is this template method design pattern all about? So it is all about having a sequence of steps. Okay, so it is all about having a sequence of steps when we consider some kind of applicability. Okay, so some kind of applicability of a particular pattern. Okay, so what it defines? It defines sequential steps to execute a multi-step algorithm. So where we can apply, so where we want to avoid the duplication, so where you want to look at the things. Okay, so let us try and understand it. So just from the kind of mechanical point of view, not programmatical point of view. So let's say we need to build any house, so which is generally having certain steps. So some steps, okay, construction of the base, construction of roof. Okay, so steps with default implementation, base foundation, construction of roof. Okay, steps with no default implementation, construction of walls. So construction of windows and doors. Okay, so no default means these are not the default things to be done. Okay, so there may not be walls, there may not be windows and doors, there may not be painting, there may not be internal decoration. Okay, so we want to enforce this step sequentially by implementing all the classes. So basically, so we are going to have a sequential approach towards the problem. So towards the problem, we want to have a sequential approach. Okay, so this I'll just explain. I want you people to just go through it. Okay, so whenever we are talking about this house, so build house, decorate house, paint house. So what is this? So this is the interface that we can have: construct windows, okay, construct root, construct base. So these are all the final. So final in the sense they must be taken into consideration. They must be taken into consideration, and there is no particular order for these particular things. Okay, so and how we can implement this? So we can implement this by the help of the uh, uh, program. So what is the program that I'll just go through it. So here we have the class house. So we have the class house. So in that house we have a method called build house. So in which we have, so this is basically a template basically. So template, so which will have all these particular implementations. Okay, so decorate house, paint the house, construct the doors and all. So sequential implementation of it. So how we are going to implement it? So we are going to implement it by the help of the overriding all the methods. So this I can give it to you, so you can just go through it. Okay. So this is how we have the behavior design patterns. So to give an overview of all the things that we have discussed under the behavioral design patterns, so we went for understanding the behavioral design patterns by understanding understanding. So what I told you, so how different it is from creation and structure. So under the creation and structure, we were talking about creating the instantiation, creating the object. But here we mainly concentrate on how the objects are interacted. So when we have taken the state design pattern. So under the state design pattern, so I gave you one real example where we can change, where we can't change the TV status, where we can't change the TV status by just clicking on the remote. So the remote will be working if at all the TV is on. So the only thing that we can do when TV is off is we can switch it on. Okay. So then slowly moving forward, so we went for the implementation of so we went for the implementation of the state design pattern by having state design pattern by having okay. Yeah, I'll do it for you. Yes, I'll do it for you, no problem. Okay. So here, okay, so here in the advantages and disadvantages, so we have seen how how there are different advantages in the state design pattern, and we slowly went into the observer design pattern. So where we had an example of subject, observer, behavior. Okay, so these are the things that we talked about and understood today. So hope everyone had a great time listening to this session from me. Okay. So if you have any other doubts, any other questions relating to this, you can talk to me right now, or you can chat with me right now. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Aman. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your great compliment. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully everything is fine and tidy. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, so hopefully we'll meet with the next topic with a great topic. Okay, in Java. Okay, so thanks Starof for giving me this opportunity, and thank you everyone. Thank you so much.